Hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys? What's going on? Got a video lesson here on this monster trade from yesterday. FSLY FSLY tech sector. So hopefully you guys caught this from our watch list we put up in the morning yesterday, pre-market. But let's kind of walk you through this. So this was just a clean. It's just a really clean day two continuation. So we're looking at 2-minute chart. Let's zoom out a little bit. As you can see, had a solid run up into the close on Thursday. Actually gapped up on Friday, then kind of reclaimed the VWAP when it obviously lost early in the morning session, kind of dipped around a little bit, and then into the close. Obviously, SPY ran up into the close, so that obviously SPY bought this thing up. And then we saw the gap up. Obviously, the whole market gapped up pre-market session, and obviously, FSLY went with it. Clearly, we didn't think that it was going to run the way it ran. I think from its lows to its highs, it was like almost 13 points, 13%. So quite significant run from this particular security. So let's check this out. So what do we have here? This obviously this yellow line down here is the high of the day on Friday session. The light red is pre-market highs. First dark red at 100 is the first resistance. Second and last dark red line, that 102.83, call it 103, is the last line of defense. And then you have no resistance above. So let's walk you through the process. So obviously, our plan, get in this thing above pre-market highs and at least take it to the 103. Not even close thinking it was going to run the way it ran. But let's talk about some of these trend lines when we get to the point. So this thing broke through pre-market highs, just took off. Obviously, it kept pushing pre-market levels and printing highs up into the bell, and then just took off. So there was it wasn't a lot of opportunity to risk off the previous candle because it just took off. So we didn't get in until the second closing of the candle. So obviously it closed, took out the previous candle's highs, and we just scaled in. We didn't take a big starter because this thing just ran like right out of the gate. So once it took off, printed, took off again, had this pause. Remember, what's right above? We had that 103, so we didn't want to add right into the last line of defense. So we just kept our scale through this huge engulfing. It was a 3-bar play. You had this engulfing, paused, and ripped to the upside. But you can see this candle here peaked up above that target of 10. What actually was 102.83. That's the all-time high, and then reversed right back down. So we didn't obviously get into it continually. We're not adding anything right now. We're just have our starter on right now. Once it broke to the upside, closed, then we added to our position. So it brought our average up. I think our average was about here. When we saw this reversal, we're like, shit, we're gonna get fucking caught. Anyway, it held right at, remember, price is above resistance, previous resistance, now support. You have VWAP below it as well. So what do you have? 2 natural levels of support. So on that pullback, it held, so we're good. We're very, very good. We got full size on the break of the highs. Remember, all these pullbacks, these are just opportunities for profit taking and also opportunities for people that missed this initial run up to get in and participate. However, getting up here, this was an ad. This wasn't obviously our starter. Starting a position up here, there's nothing wrong with it, obviously, in hindsight, because you see what had happened. But this was obviously wasn't printed in the morning. Up here, let's look at the ATR. We're looking at almost 7 points. The ATR on FSLY is 6.3. So to buy when you're already over your ATR, it's a risk. You can add into your position, right? Because your average is going to be much less than obviously the ATR itself. But to start a position up here, it's risky. All right. So anyway, ran up, printed its reversal. This strong engulfing shook us out a little bit, so we booked 50% on the reversal, but it based out, and it based out, printed a very higher low, obviously, right, and it started to consolidate right, not right above VWAP, but above VWAP, so it's still very, very bullish, right? So obviously had this pull up, pull back again. Once it broke this level of the pullback, we got right back in. Full size when it broke this high, we got added 25% here, added another 25%, so now we're full size, but we added pretty much at the top. It reverse broke this trend line here, so then we got 50% again. We took off what we added here, so we took off 50%. So when it started to trade below this level, we're still holding 50% because it's well above VWAP, right? But it's still, you know, very extended. At this peak, I think, what was the ATR? I don't know what it was. For 11 points, guys. Remember, so you're nearly double the ATR. So when you start seeing this strong sell-off, second pullback, you're thinking, okay, this is probably the top, and we're going to start seeing some backside. So you got to protect that, right? Again, you're so far in, you're still above VWAP, so you got to leave some on the table, but you're not thinking that this thing's going to continue to go. So obviously it pulls back. We're still 50%. Took off, took out our previous level of support, but it hasn't taken that morning low out, so that's very significant. So we're just still sitting 50. We're still sitting 50. It hasn't broke this high yet, so what are we doing? We're just still sitting 50%, but now you're seeing a higher low and this diagonal, so that's why we started putting this trend line here. You start seeing this pull up, run back up, pull up, fade out to the trend line, pull up, fade out, pull up, and then it broke. When it broke here, we got all cash, because obviously we saw what was going on. We saw that it just could not break this high. It was printing a lower high, right? So then when it faded, broke that trend line that it couldn't break previous, very easy, it can flush out and wipe out any gains. So we ended up booking profits. Very interesting enough, where did it bounce off of? Pretty much the level of support in the last 2 hours of the session. Still above VWAP though, so it's very bullish. So I had this run up again, now previous support, now it's resistance. Trading below, hitting this resistance level from earlier in the session. Resistance, then it broke out. We were done. We didn't get back into this thing, but we want to show you these levels of resistance support intraday play a significant role throughout the session. So broke above. Once it broke, then you obviously saw volume come in, take this thing up, accumulate some more on a higher level. Broke up again that it couldn't break earlier. I mean, obviously the previous hour, and then closed in. You know, obviously ran into the close, and you saw what happened. Never once did the sellers take control. Living above VWAP the whole session. Any type of pullback was just profit taking, obviously, and then more accumulation, more buying, even at these higher levels. So one of the things we wanted to point out is whenever you see a security running, breaking through strong resistance, 100 is a very strong resistance, all-time high obviously is a very strong resistance. Whenever you see a security just blast through these levels with no resistance above, don't ever fall into the trap, well, it's too high, it can't go any higher. That's complete bullshit. Anybody tells you that's complete bullshit. Alright? You get into securities when there's trend behind you, when there's momentum is there. Until there's a reason to sell, until you see crystal clear behavioral change in a security, manage your position, scale in, scale out. So getting involved up here after pretty much a 3-hour accumulation, and it breaks the upside, you still got another 2.5 points, guys. No one's going to think it's going to run another 2.5 points all day, right? What was it again? I think it was 13 points. It's insane, right? So you're doing double ATR. No one's thinking it's going to run higher, but this is how you manage positions. You trade off of support resistance intraday levels that can't get penetrated, but once they do get penetrated, it gives you a nice risk to reward. That being said, guys, whenever you see securities running, you continue to manage your position until there is a crystal clear reason to sell. Otherwise, your job is to extract as much as possible. And this is a perfect example. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We have a couple more videos. Had a solid day yesterday with our watch list. Hope you guys got some of them. So we got some more videos coming up. All right, guys. Any question, reach out. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our trading videos.